Hi, everyone. Welcome to Pete's Epic Golf Podcast. Join golfer Pete as he interviews international and local golf experts and enthusiasts. Golfer Pete's guests are looking to share how his audience can improve their golf game by improving their mindset, skill set, and gear set. We ask our experts to share their practical tips on golf in one or more of these three core areas. Golfer Pete created his podcast as a resource for anyone who loves golf. Join Golfer Pete as he asks the questions we all need answers to in order to improve our golf game.
I want to welcome our viewers to Pete's Epic Golf Podcast, and we have a guest that's up there in the Roswell area. He's around golf all the time, so you're going to want to listen to some insights that Sean has about what he does and who he serves up there. So, Sean, thank you for being a guest. Would you introduce yourself and just a little bit of background so our viewers will know who you are and where you're coming from and who you serve?
Sure, absolutely. So, name's Sean McWhortor. I've been with the PGA Tour Superstore now for 18 and a half years. Background was I'm a graduate of Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
I played junior golf growing up, going all the way back to basically the time I could walk. So I played a lot of. I grew up in the state of Indiana. So played high school golf, a lot of national golf. And so after graduating, decided I wanted to make a career in the golf business. Became a golf pro out in Arizona, a course called Ocotillo. Did that for about 5 or 6 years. Wanted a little different route for my career. So ended up connecting in Roswell here, the first store with the PGA Tour Superstore back in 2005. I have had a variety of different positions within the company. I think I've had 7 or 8 different positions. So, and I kind of did the full roundabout career and ended up back in the same place I started here in the Roswell location. And I've been back in the store about 9 years now.
Awesome.
So, yeah, really just a life in the golf business, and love the game, and wanted to make a career out of it.
Well, it's awesome to hear, because we have college students on, and we always say, if golf doesn't take you to, say, the PGA Tour, there's so many avenues to go into the game of golf. And why don't you, if you could share with our listeners, so when you were making that transition from a head pro to the retail end of business, what would you say the biggest difference was for you personally?
Well, when I got out of school, that was really kind of the intent, was that I would, become a pro at a golf course. And for me, after 4 or 5 years, it just became, my passion kind of became a little bit different than what the green grass side offered.
Mm-hmm.
So, I obviously loved playing. I knew I wasn't going to be playing professionally. So, so I really kind of started doing some research on what other kind of career opportunities there were in golf besides just doing green grass, which I think a lot of people, when they get into the business, they kind of think that's the primary career. And, there really is a lot of different avenues. So I, kind of got into the retail side. I did a quick stint when I first moved here at Dick's, managing their golf department. So that was kind of my first piece in doing just retail piece of it. And then really for me, the opportunity came in when through the PGA links. I was a PGA pro at the time. This opportunity with PGA Tour Superstore, they were starting, it was a brand new business, brand new concept. So I utilized the PGA, I was a PGA pro. I used that career, placement services that they offer to really find this opportunity. Certainly, for graduates getting out of school, I would definitely encourage them in their getting into the PGA program to really use that. It's a great hiring resource, and you really can see that there is a lot of opportunity if, maybe green grass maybe isn't for you. With the, from a Class A perspective, there's now I think there's like 40 different options. So you don't have to, you can be a Class A pro and not necessarily work at a green grass. And that's, I think, well, kind of a lot of the misconception is that if I'm a pro, I have to work at a golf course. And that's just, there's a lot of other career opportunities. And I'd say, just within our business, we've got PGA professionals throughout it. So, we've got Bill Elmore that oversees our training, the development center over in our corporate office. We've got pros in a variety of different positions throughout our company, and that really transcends to other, other businesses and things as well. So there really is a great opportunity in the business of golf if, green grass isn't necessarily your thing.
Well, that's important for our viewers to really hear, because I think we tend to go on that one path, and then life will take you in different paths, and to know the different varieties. I know I'm about 5 minutes from the Kennesaw store.
Mm-hmm.
I always go up there and putt, and I join the I don't know what it's called, Players Club, I think.
Yeah, the Players Club, the Players Club Plus program. Yeah, with the practice membership. Yep.
Yeah. Why don't you explain to our viewers, because I didn't hear about it until about maybe a year ago, and I always went up there and hit, but the idea that I can see a video and I can reserve a bay, would you share with our viewers what that program's all about?
Sure. Yeah. So it's been around a while, going back probably, a dozen years or more, but essentially what it is, it varies a little bit from market to market, and I can get into that a little bit about how we're transitioning our business model a little bit to accommodate all of the what we're called off golf course players, and I can explain that in a minute. But basically, the program itself is we sell a year membership, and it's a variety of different prices depending on the market. But it's it's a practice membership for a year. And it comes with the same technology that we are utilizing currently in our fitting and our studios. So it's got, our store has TrackMan, has Foresight units. So you get all the data that we use to fit customers for the proper clubs. They get to use that in the practice. The benefit to that is, first of all, it's got video. So a lot of people want to see video of their swing.
Yes.
The other thing is it's got club data, club and launch data. So, if you're maybe wanting to dial in your clubs and know exactly how far you hit them, if you're struggling with distance and you want to see what's maybe going on with your ball speed or your launch, all of that information is available to you through our system. The really nice thing about what we've done as a company here is, starting about 3 or 4 years ago, we made a big investment in this practice center across the board. So we upgraded the technology. The TrackMan was a nice addition in there. That's the same thing that we use in our premium studio fittings. And then really now, where we're kind of seeing the industry going is there is as many golfers out there that are playing that off course. And by that, I mean, you've got your Top Golf, you've got your fairway socials, you've got your 5-iron, who we actually partnered up with as a company here because we see that the virtual realm is becoming so popular. Nice part about virtual golf, or things like Top Golf is, first of all, it doesn't take as much time. It's easier to do. You got perfect climates. You're not dealing with the weather. You're not trying to find your lost golf balls in the woods, things like that. So it's appealing to people that either don't get a chance to play a lot or beginners, and maybe the golf course environment's intimidating to them. So what you're seeing in the industry is you're seeing a lot of transition with a lot of new players doing things like Top Golf or these fairway socials, those types of things. So we're actually kind of dipping our toe into it as well. The first part was upgrading the technology in our practice center to make it more legitimate and competitive with what's out there. The second thing is us getting involved, as I mentioned, the 5-iron concept, where we are getting in it's an up and coming business where we're getting into the fitting portion of that. They've got one opening in Atlanta, I think, at the end of the year. We've got, there's in Chicago, and they've got them throughout the country. But so we're aligning ourselves not just with the golf course side of things, but this virtual that's really kind of taking hold of the industry. So the practice center, I mean, you just do the math. If you're going to hit a lot of balls, you're going to do a lot of practicing. 100 for us is $150 for the year. I mean, you're spending any more. I go to the driving range, it's $15 for a bag of balls.
Yep.
You can see how that adds up pretty quick. So it's just a really nice accommodation that we offer for helping our customers improve their game, which is really what we're about as a company.
Well, that's so important, because I didn't get it. I mean, I've always hit balls in the Bay, but a friend of mine invited me up there one Sunday night, and all of a sudden I'm watching the video, and I'm just seeing a different experience. I'm seeing spin rates. I'm seeing all this stuff that I've never really have dove. I mean, I never really experienced. So I joined right away, and I bring people up there, and they're blown away too by the video data part of it.
Right.
And I think when I had Ralph Stokes on, we were talking about off-course golf versus on-course, and the numbers, and I don't know if they're accurate, but a guest told me about it. 18 million people play off-course golf. 16 million are playing on-course. So he brought this up. He said, we saw a 1%. It's been increasing 1 to 6% that convert to on course. So you're right about the attention span and the, not chasing balls in the woods and able to go out there for a shorter time frame. So your investment at PGA Superstore was in the technology part of it. Was that the major investment for that program?
It was. And we've, one of the things that's great with our company is we're constantly trying to innovate. Innovate continuously is actually one of our 6 core values. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to technology, what that means is that we want to be on the forefront of the technology that we're using, both to fit customers for equipment, but then also having the resources for the customers to utilize that is the rivals what the best players in the game are using. Mm-hmm. So, having said that, it has come with a lot of change and upgrades over the years. We started with About Golf years ago, transition to Foresight, TrackMan. We're slowly transitioning to TrackMan. And then what we're actually doing in some of our newer locations is we're testing a concept similar to like a fairway social, a 5-iron, to where store Milwaukee is a good example of this, is that they have 6 or 8 full engaged simulators where you can play rounds of golf and things like that. They're using TrackMan data, so it's more than just the information. Now you can actually go into these stores and play full rounds of golf. And then, obviously one of the big things with technology is, believe it or not, people don't think about, is the projector. The projector is really everything, right? So the projector is what makes the experience real or makes the experience not seem so real. So, we put a lot of money into those projectors so that you get, you feel like you're out there on the golf course. The technology that we're using with either TrackMan or Foresight is so good, so accurate, that then you really need that projector to kind of simulate what you're playing there out on the golf course.
What you mentioned, fairway social. Would you explain to our viewers what that concept is, and then also the 5-iron? I haven't heard it.
Sure. Yeah. So what that is, and I actually have gone over there and used it a couple times. So there is one down in right in downtown Alpharetta there, just off the strip there. But so what that is it's kind of your all-inclusive experience. So it's got a restaurant, it's got a bar, and it's actually, that one has a putting green in the back, kind of on the patio, where you can get little putting contests and things going. But inside, it's got simulators throughout the restaurant, and you can play rounds of golf. They have all different kinds of activities, so they have other sports as well. But essentially, you rent the simulator for some period of time, and you can play these different, sporting events, and most people will play golf, but there's hockey and different kinds of things. There's soccer and different things. So the idea is that's an interactive dining experience, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So 5-irons along the same concept, and the difference with 5-iron is they're, first of all, they're specifically to downtown. So they're trying to get into areas where maybe people don't have access to a lot of golf courses, things like that. So you got like downtown Chicago, I mentioned they're going to do one in Atlanta. And it's a little bit more of a bar atmosphere. So you're going to, these places are going to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. But again, you've got your pool tables and things like that, but it really centers around the simulators.
Mm-hmm.
They're using state-of-the-art technology. So, you've got your foresights and you've got the reality there. And, so the whole experience is I can, hang out with my friends, I can have some drinks, I can play around a golf. So it's kind of this interactive social experience versus just I'm going to go to a bar and drink, or I'm going to go to a restaurant and eat, that type of thing. So they've really started to gain some momentum. And, the benefit for us being in the golf industry is it's getting it continues, we we saw a huge spike in in the industry, during the time of COVID. It was the thing about golf was that you could do it safely, you could space, it's outside. So you saw a whole bunch of people, a lot of people had more free time on their hands. So the game just took off. Unfortunately, it's a difficult game. It is a very, even for the best players, it's difficult. So what you have in these interactive in social restaurants like Fairway Social is you can get in there if you're a beginner. You kind of get the feeling of playing golf, but all of the, like I mentioned, the intimidation of being on a golf course and maybe not understanding the rules, things like that. That kind of puts all that anxiety away and allows you just to play the game for the fun that it creates. And that's, I think, where it's keeping a lot of these folks that got into the game during COVID. It's helping keeping them going. And I think as a result, we're seeing very, very strong business numbers, several years from now removed from COVID because of that, and that was kind of my concern. We love seeing the spike. We love seeing all these new players into the game. The question was, well, it's a complicated game. It can be expensive. It's time consuming. How many of these people are going to be able to continue when we get past, the pandemic, and will they continue to be in the game? And surprisingly, we're still heads and tails above where we were before COVID started. So the industry is still very, very strong. And I think a lot of it is because of these interactive type of golf avenues that people can choose.
Mm-hmm. In the store at Kennesaw, I don't know, you probably do know Jack Adams and Yuri. And so I always see Jack busy fitting people with clubs. And the one thing that is always I don't know if it bothered me, but when a particular manufacturer has like a club fitting at your club, like the Callaway Day. Sure. And so with that, I've always thought that the data, it's probably normal. I don't know that they want to fit you in their clubs. But, I think the objective nature of Jack is he's going to look at all the different options and better fit people. Why don't you explain to our viewers the difference between the country club fitting and what you guys do as far as having all kinds of different manufacturers that you represent so they can understand the difference.
Yeah. So, again, one of our concepts is we're really, in fact, it goes to the very mission of who we are, is we want to grow the game and we want to improve the player. So we want to build a customer that loves the game for life, and we want to kind of take some of the challenges that this game historically has brought, and we want to try to make it easier, more enticing for the new players into the game. So at the end of the day, we've got great relationships with all of our partners, but we are about when it comes to fitting equipment is ultimately what is the right equipment for you. What is the right equipment, and it's important to know that our associates are not commissioned. They're not spiffed, so they're not enticed to promote any one product over another. So what that allows us to do is really, as you mentioned, Jack can now put, he can look at the customer, he can see what's going on with the swing, he can see what's going on with ball speed and launch data, and he can go, okay, well, I know, based on what I'm seeing here, this combination of club is probably going to work, and then they can test it, and then the results speak for themselves, right? So we've invested in the technology. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not Jack's opinion. He can take the customer and say, hey, here's what TrackMan is showing us. This is your launch. This is the best equipment, and here's why. You've got data to support that. So that's really what the core of our fitting is utilizing the technology that we've invested in to truly help the customer get the right equipment. And like I said, we've got great relationships with all of our vendors. We certainly, we do have the vendor days where a Callaway, a TaylorMade, a Titleist will come in, and certainly, we give them the opportunity to, their industry rep to come in and promote their products. But at the end of the day, for us, it's really about, what is the best equipment for you? And that, we've got, 12 to 15 brands over there. They all make phenomenal equipment. So we just want to make sure that it's really about, what shaft technology is going to work for you, what loft in the club, what type of club head. Do you need lighter? Do you need heavier? What grip size do you need? All of those things are little things that, experienced players understand make a difference. And now we try to educate, the industry as a total.
And I think that I didn't want to sound like it was so biased that they're not looking out for the interest of the customer, but because a specific rep knows that industry and knows the line that they have, so there's benefits there. But I think that when you come to more like you represent a lot of different ones, I think and plus you're not commission driven, because as you know, shafts can go up in price, and it's real important to find the right shaft. And if somebody is commission driven, they may be that day wanting to go on vacation at a better place. They may indirectly say, well, this shaft is a great one, and it's a $500 piece of shaft, which, you can spend some money in golf, as you know. What would you say to for our viewers? Like, I love the putting green concept because I go up there all the time and putt around. And so what other advantages do you see with the PGA Superstore that y'all are working through? I know you said technology. How can our viewers see what's going on in the PGA Superstore as you guys expand around the country?
Yeah, obviously, I completely agree. One of the things that always, when I first got going with this company, that just, to me was a wow factor is the putting green. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so many times in some of the competitors that are out there, it kind of seems like when you go in there, whether it is or isn't, it feels kind of like an afterthought. Yes. And putting to me is like, that is the most important part of the game. I mean, you have players that kind of hit the ball over the golf course and can still shoot great numbers, and it's because they make everything they look at on the putting green. So what we do is we feature that front and center. We've got some of the best, product. We've got, most product. I mean, you come in like to our store at Kennesaw and you get on that putting green, like, wow. I mean, I didn't know, there's so many different brands of putters here, but yes. And that can be a little overwhelming for the customer. But what we try to do is we make it very hands-on. So come in, grab whatever putter you want, try different things, and because the size of the putting greens alone, we can get 20, 30 customers on there that can comfortably, they're not, on top of each other, or, they're able to kind of feel a personal experience while they test different equipment. The putting green to me is one of those things that really separates our concept from some of the competitors. I think some of the other aspects is obviously just the variety that we try to carry in terms of total product. You can look at the clubs as one aspect, but I mean, you can go into, to me, the fashion piece of the business, and we're seeing a lot of our customers now that don't even really play golf, but because the attire we carry is now business friendly. Your corporate offices have gone away from suit and ties to more business casual. The variety of different brands that we carry within these stores now is appealing to a lot more people other than just golfers.
Yeah.
I think we focus in the club, certainly drive the business, but I constantly get feedback from our customers on, man, I mean, just the variety of different apparel brands that you have is just incredible, and that. So I think we put a lot of emphasis on that part of our business, and you could say the same thing for footwear as well. But the style of the game has changed so dramatically. I've been with this company 18 years, been in golf my whole life. I can remember when it was very stiff, very rigid. The shoes were not comfortable. The clothes were very plain, and to see it from where it was then, which was it was more about maybe not even performance. I guess the shoes with the spikes and things, but now to really go to what it is, which the game is athletic. I mean, these guys on tour are athletes. They're as good athletes as anybody else out there. So, and style. So the style of it has just changed so dramatically. And you've got, brands like Puma, Travis Matthews. I mean, these brands have overtaken the industry because they're appealing to the newer golfers that are getting into the game. And so we certainly carry in the traditional brands. They're a cornerstone of the business, but what you really see driving that piece of it is it's a lot of these new and up and coming brands. I think Travis Matthews is probably a perfect example of that. That's now our number one men's brand.
Wow.
That was just not the case, even a few years ago. So I think that having that and for us constantly looking for different brands out there, up and coming brands, that I think helps us as well appeal to the masses when it comes to the golf industry.
A lot of my friends talk about the Pebble Beach line, the clothing line. I guess that's more of an economical line. Is that accurate? I just see that they say, yeah, they rave about it, the shirts and some of the others. What is that as far as y'all? Is that giving value back that maybe underneath the national brands?
It is. And, like everything else, our industry has seen, big increases in pricing. I just look at what's happened to like a polo golf shirt. When I started, you could get a really good polo shirt for under $50. I mean, now everything's approaching 100. So we understand that not everybody has that kind of budget. So Pebble Beach, along with PGA Tour, are a couple of brands that make phenomenal product, but more economical pricing. And I've got a lot of Pebble Beach and PGA Tour in my closet just because they make great shorts, they make great polos. It's not like this polo doesn't hold up. It's got the sports microfiber in it. You can wash it and dry it, and it holds up just like Nike or a Puma or an Adidas would. So the quality of it I would put up against any of the other brands, but it gives us another option. And PGA, and as a result, Pebble Beach, PGA Tour, those, we move a lot of product, and those are very important brands for us.
Mm-hmm. Several years ago, I was in the charity golf outing business, and we would come and PGA Superstore would give us $10 gift cards to put in the gift bags. And I think it evolved into, I don't know if too many people just came in and spent $10 and nothing more, but it's a different program now. Would you explain to our viewers And mainly to our charity golfers out there that want to put gift bags together. What does that program look like now?
Yeah. So it has evolved and changed over the years, but the crux of it is a $20 coupon card. So what we do with the charity is we kick in $10 and they kick in $10. So the idea being is that every participant in their tournament gets one of these cards. And if a minimum of 40 of those cards are purchased or an investment of $400, we add some additional benefits. One being is that we will sponsor $1,000 shopping spree for one of their hole-in-ones. So if somebody, as they're trying to put these tournaments together, obviously they're looking for hole-in-one prizes on the par threes. So, that's something we do. We provide a practice certificate, as we were talking about earlier with the Performance Center. We provide one free session for everybody in their tournament. So it gives them a chance to come in and see the technology without having to make an investment, so to speak, to get in there. And then we donate the Players Club Plus we were talking about earlier, the year membership, $150 value. We will put that into that tournament package as well. And then finally, we the little shopping bags. We're constantly getting asked for. Hey, I need to have in these little shopping bags. I can put all the stuff in for each of my participants. So we provide that as well. We also offer a 10% off any product purchase, and that includes gift cards. So if they want to purchase gift cards for, let's say, the winning team or something like that, we will give them 10% off those gift cards. So that saves them a little bit of money, and then obviously 10% off on the any product they purchase. If they want door prizes or raffle prizes, things like that. So it's a nice overall package with minimal investment, and we understand that the purpose of the tournament is really to it's benefiting a charity or something in the community. So we understand that they're trying to save as much money as possible so that can go back into the community. So this is they're able to get on board with us for a minimal investment and have a nice little package for their participants to help entice people to play in their tournament.
No, I like that. I'm always talking to my charities about increasing the price of getting in, because they'll work so hard and they'll price it at like $150. By the time they pay out all the money, they're not left with much, and they work they work hard. And I said, if you're 150, go to 200, and then offer value in that, which you're talking about. I've never heard it explained exactly like that. So it makes sense, the value that you're driving, especially from the bags to the buy, $20, spend 10, because it's easy for a charity to go to 200. Nobody's going to say, well, it went up $50 this year. If they want to play in the charity, they want to benefit the charity, $50 doesn't mean anything. And even the mulligans, I'm a firm believer in, don't do the unlimited mulligans, because somebody's going to come in there, they're going to put a lot of money, and then they make the tournament less competitive because they bought 25 mulligans and somebody only bought 5. But put your price up a little bit, offer value. So I'm glad you explained that too, because I'll make sure I share that with my charities to make sure that they keep the integrity of the match intact, not who has the most money can buy the most mulligans. So
I agree with that 100%. Yeah, that to me is there's definitely creative ways to draw more money in than just, the mulligan's kind of the go-to, but the frustrating part is you go out there with your group and you play great, and you should be, in theory and in the thick of it. And then you go in and somebody's got a, 25, 30 under round posted, and it's like, so that definitely, there's a lot of creative ways to and I've noticed this with some of the events that I've played in. You've got, for instance, like, you've got this where they shoot the golf ball out of the gun, and if you put $50 in, he'll shoot you get to play it, the gun shoots at 400 yards or whatever. Or a par five, if you get to go hit it from the 150 marker, if everybody puts in $50. So there's some ways there other than just, to your point, you mulligan, where they can just hit as many shots as they want,
Yeah.
to raise additional funds with the tournament. Now, I certainly understand, they're trying to get as much money as they
Yeah.
can, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, you got to think a little bit creatively out there to, and to your point, I mean, the people are playing in this tournament because they support the cause. They're coming to that tournament ready to spend money,
Yes.
so they're going to, if you have a putting contest for $50, they're going to do that because, the money's going to the charity that they support. So I agree with you 100% there.
Yeah, I love now. I'm not going to tell you who the guest was, but he had a pretty good player that he plays with and is friends with. Being in the golf business, I'm sure you know pros and you play with pros. Could you share with our viewers? It's one of the higher end A players that maybe you've played with that our viewers would recognize their name out there.
Yeah, I've had a chance to play with a few. Years ago, I got to play with Aaron Badley several times. He was, at the time, he was with Echo, and Echo hosted a nice event where he would come and he would play basically 3 holes with each group, and you could use his ball, if you wanted. Of course, he comes with us and he birdies every hole, and you use his shots, So
Yeah.
it's fun just to play, just to see what it looks like to play with somebody that plays the game at that level. It's like you'll hit a shot, you go, oh, I could do that, and then he'll hit 3 shots, you go, I couldn't do any one of those 3 shots, right?
Yeah.
So there's been him. Trying to think. There's been I know years ago we had a deal with TaylorMade where we got to play with different players there, depending on the market that we're in. So I know a lot of our Myrtle Beach group got to play with Dustin Johnson, kind of at the peak of his career. We've gotten a chance to do some of that. And not necessarily playing, but what I have. So we host a training summit that's usually the week before the PGA show in January. And for a lot of years, it was at Streamsong. So the managers would be down there, and we'd bring about 5 or 6 of our top fitters. And it was basically a week for them to just really learn all the product, all the new product, everything. So we would, typically with the vendor contracts, we would bring some different players. So I had Nick Faldo give me a golf lesson.
Ooh,
that was
yes.
probably, yeah. So story behind that is we knew he was there. He was going to do a little, presentation of the group. And Gary McCord was with him. And so I'm hitting balls. I'm hitting balls. And I see somebody out of the corner of my eye, and he's just watching me. And I look back and I'm like, oh my God, that's Nick Faldo. So he's watching me hit balls, and he walks up and he gives me a little tip. And then he has me hit a few more. And you want to talk about nerves, and having Nick Faldo give me a golf lesson. That was probably one of the highlights. Justin Rose came down a couple years later. He was a super nice guy. He did one of these clinics, and we got a chance to all go up and talk with him after the fact. And it's so great to be able to just talk to them about, like, when he won the U.S. Open, and you're hearing it right out of the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Yes.
But probably the greatest honor was just recently, last year. We were involved in the Play Yellow campaign with Jack Nicklaus, and our store was one of the higher performing stores. And so we were invited down to his tournament. So it's in, the Palm Beach area where the Honda Classics, so that we got to play that golf course in a couple of rounds, which was awesome, bear trap and all that.
Yeah.
But one evening he came in, and we all got to meet with him, and we all got to talk with him one-on-one. And that was just that was a phenomenal experience to be able to do that with him. So that was definitely the highlight of of all the golfers I've met. But yeah, I've certainly had a chance in this business to meet some of the great Hall of Famers of all time. So.
Oh, that's awesome. As we finish up, because I know being a general manager, they're pulling on you all
Yeah.
day long. So we're going to let you go in just a second, but share with our viewers, like, what was the best course that you've played, the most memorable course that you've ever teed it up that you can just share with our viewers?
Well, I think that has to go all the way back to I was 12 years old and with my dad, and we played Pebble Beach.
Whoa.
And yeah, you want to talk about, and I've played some great courses. I played the Ocean course, and I've got a chance to play some phenomenal golf courses over my lifetime. But just the experience, one of playing with my dad,
Mm-hmm.
and then playing that golf course, having seen it on TV, and I think Tom Kite had won the U.S. Open like a year or two before that or something, and just when you make that turn on number 4 and you see that green sitting out there on number 6 just on the edge of the cliff, and then you get to
Yep.
play number 7 and you're
Yep.
playing these holes. It's just like it's just you get so wrapped, you don't even care how you're playing, you get so wrapped up in the moment. But I think to me, as just the age I was playing with my dad, and my dad and I
Mm-hmm.
were we were golfing buddies. He got me into the game, and we still play golf as much as we can now today. So having that experience, here we are, 40 years or 35 years later, and I still remember that like it was yesterday. So I think that was probably one of the greatest, experiences on a golf course I've ever had.
Yeah, I have to say Pebble is mine too. What did you hit on number 7? I'm just curious. Do you remember back then?
So it was downwind
Mm-hmm.
and severely. So I basically was almost like a chip shot. I think it was playing 107 or something. So I hit a flip lob wedge, just basically to get it up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, I think I hit the green. I know I walked away with a par, but what was crazy is I remember when Tom Kite played there, a year or two before that, he had a 3-iron to that hole.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
that is crazy, the difference in how that hole can play.
Absolutely. I asked when I was teeing off, I said, "How's the wind today?" He says, "Oh, it's way up there." And I remember the same thing. I remember from Nicholas hitting a 3-iron. So I get to that hole and the wind is blowing. I hit a 7-iron. I hit it beautiful. All of a sudden, it airmails the green.
Yeah.
I'm going, well, the wind has to be a lot stronger to be able to hold a 3-iron for something as short as that. But yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I remember I played the Ocean course several years ago, and we had caddies there, and I get up on the first hole. I'm like 140 yards away, and he's like, "What do you hit from 180?" And I'm like, 6-iron. He goes, "Hit that." And I'm like, and he goes, and hit it hard. And I'm like,
Yeah.
You're looking at it going, there's just no way that, but he was right. I hit it. It ended up in the middle of the green. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, you have to rely on guys with the course knowledge to play those types of courses. But
absolutely. Well, I want to let you run there, Sean. I really appreciate it. I could talk all day long, but
yeah, me too.
You got work to do, and you have a team to make sure that everything's running smoothly. But we always ask our guests is there a guest that you could recommend to our show that is interesting and that our viewers would love to hear from? Is there any particular person that sticks out in your mind that you would recommend?
Well, yeah, I see you beat me to Ralph Stokes, so he would always be one. I mean, his story is just incredible.
Yes.
I think, I think you mentioned, certainly, other GMs within this company. Chris Shaw would be a great one. Chris Shaw's got an interesting story just from where he was before he came on board with us to where he's developed now. He would certainly be one I'd recommend. Just you get a point of view of somebody that wasn't in the industry at all, and you can see the passion and things he has for the business now. So I would definitely certainly recommend him as an option for you. But we've got so many different GMs. Certainly can rely, that they have such great stories in the business, a variety, some golf related and some coming from outside the industry. But there's just a lot of great stories. So certainly I can, give you some other names of other people, even outside the market, that would, for sure love to come on the show.
Well, we love talk, obviously, golf, and we like people that are in the industry that love it and talk about it like it's like a second language. You can talk. I was going by the fitness room. I live in a senior facility, and so the guy was in there and he's waving me to come in, and he's 82, and we 45 minutes later we're talking golf because we started talking about stuff, and he's lifting weights and we're talking golf. I mean, it's like you can't get enough.
Does it get any better than that?
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. I haven't played in 2 years. So, but I love talking about golf.
Yeah.
So I get my high talking about golf versus being on the course. So, well,
Sure.
I want to thank you, Sean, for being an awesome guest. And we also, our last thing is any parting thought that you can share with our viewers, our golf viewers, that you would want them to know. Is there anything you can think of the top of your head?
Yeah, I think, to me, do what you love to do and you're going to be successful at it. I love the game of golf. To me, it's like I'm not coming into work. I'm coming into something that I have passion about. I get to talk to customers all day long about the game. I get to help grow the game. I get to help be involved in a game that's really given me back so much over the years. So, I would say, you want to be happy in life, go and do something that you love and do it with every fiber of your being.
Awesome. Well, Sean, thank you so much. That's wisdom that our viewers will love to hear, because there's so many ways to earn a living in the golf industry. And if you think of all the different ways, and if you love golf, you're right about the fun nature of it, coming to work and knowing that you're just going to be around people that love the game. So thank you so much, Sean. I appreciate you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome.